It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, November 18th. I hope everyone's having a phenomenal day. It's already Tuesday. We're already 2/5 of the day. It's of the week. We've made it through the hardest day. Monday is always the hardest day to get through, and we made it through. How is everyone doing today? Are we surviving? It's another cold, rainy. We did get some sun, but it's another cold day here in Los Angeles. I saw a funny TikTok last night where it basically said that the rain in Los Angeles is bringing back quarantine vibes. And that's how I'm feeling. Yesterday, it rained so hard in LA and it was right around pickup time for my kids. I literally didn't want to leave my house. I was so scared. I thought I was going to melt. It was giving like Wicked Witch vibes. I was seriously scared about leaving my house. It was crazy. It was coming down hard and strong. I thought my roof was coming in. I mean, we were flooding. There was floods going down. I swear I saw like animals flying down the street. I saw trash cans going down. It was nuts. It was insane. It was crazy, but nothing as crazy as the ruling that happened last night on the Blake Lively case. I mean, this shit is just, it's ramping up. I know we've said this before, but it really is ramping up. It's nuts. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about this really strange thing that's happening with a Blake Lively supporter and this video that we talked about yesterday. Remember how I was overanalyzing that video? I'm going to get to that, Enrique, in just a second. Remember how we were overanalyzing that video yesterday? Man, I missed my sexual harassment training and how I was like listening to it over and over and over, like almost like psycho. And I said, it seems so strange the way he's saying that in that scene, how his voice was going up. I missed my sexual harassment training. And we were doing it over and over and over and over. And then afterwards, I went over to X, where one of the supporters, we'll get into it, had posted the video with the captions of the sexual harassment training joke. But it sounded different. The whole thing sounded different. And I kind of went deep into that. And I'm convinced that the video has been altered. In fact, we have some specialists on X, I'll go through it, who have pulled out the audio and video and like separated the wavelengths of the audio files. And I believe that pro Blake Lively supporters have edited the video that we were playing yesterday to make him sound like he is saying something that it doesn't sound like he's actually saying, because his mouth is being covered when he's saying that word. He sounds different when he's saying it in their video. And that's the video that TMZ and all the news outlets picked up. It's feeling very sus, as the young kids say, sus. And I wouldn't put it past anyone at this point. You know, I think that some of these people are in Ryan Reynolds' pocket. Just saying. Pocket. You know who else is in Ryan Reynolds' pocket, in my opinion, is Nick Viall. But guess whose pocket he's not in? Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. He's out as the reunion host. Stassi's in. That's exciting. That is exciting. We'll get into all of that. Plus, we're going to talk about Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's relationship. It's an interesting one, that relationship. I kind of can't stop judging it. You know, the two lead actors of For Good, Wicked. I'm so excited to see it. Like, I'm obsessed, but I also think it's a weird relationship. Something's off. Plus, Karen Reed is back for Chapter 3, Episode 3. If you know what I'm talking about, I'll get into it. We're going to get into all of that. And I have to sneeze. So it's your daily dose, oh gosh, of Donna. Gazoomtag. That was crazy timing. Okay, we've got to get into all the stories. Before we get into the big ones, I do want to talk about some small stories really fast. Because there are some small stories that I think are kind of interesting and just kind of follow-ups to stories that we've brought up in the past. So little hot takes that I thought we should cover. Um, remember a few months ago, I covered the Danny Masterson trial and the Scientology of it. The Danny Masterson from, obviously he's an actor, but he was a Scientologist, huge Scientologist, Danny Masterson from that 70s show. And of course, the Ashton Kutcher and the Mila Kunis. That story was so interesting to me. And it was really such a downfall moment for Mila and Ashton when they did that apology video after their letter was discovered and unearthed. How they were like, please, please, please let Danny off easily. He's not that bad, I swear. Even though he apparently, raped 14,000 people. Just kidding. But that is we all have our thoughts. Now, I will say, I believe that Danny Masterson is guilty. Uh, I obviously don't have perfect evidence myself, but in my heart, I believe that he is. I will say that one of my girlfriends is good friends with his ex, now Bijou. And uh, she said that she feels very, very strongly the opposite. And I very much trust this girl. So it's a little strange to me, but I don't know. I feel it's all Hollywood, let's all be friends. Let's all connect. The point is why I bring up Danny Masterson today on November 18th, 2025 is because Danny Masterson is back in the news because he claims he's actually behind bars, not because of everything. It's because his attorney failed him. And now he is seeking to overturn his convictions, his grape convictions. It's feeling very P. Diddy, right? He's pushing to overturn his convictions, claiming in a new set of legal filings that a series of alleged missteps by his former attorney cost him his freedom. On Monday, attorney Eric Multhop filed a 183-page habeas corpus petition, arguing that Masterson's retrial was flawed. Now, remember, Danny got 30 years to life. He's 48 now. And he was convicted of raping 2 women in 2003. And he got 30 years to life, which is, it's a very, very long sentence for 2 grapes, definitely. But, I get nervous of saying the word, but I feel like I can say the word. At this point, can we say the word? I don't know. YouTube gods, you let me know. But he says this new attorney, Eric, claimed a combination of alleged prosecutorial, that's a hard word to say, misconduct, judicial bias, and the failure of defense counsel to present exculpatory evidence led to a wrongful conviction. The petition is accompanied by 65 exhibits that document the evidence of innocence that could have been presented but was not. The jury heard only half the story, the prosecution side. Danny deserves a new trial where the jury can hear his side as well. Wow. So they're basically saying that the entire trial, they actually did not hear Danny's side. It says that he was previously represented by Philip Cohen and Sean Hawley, the latter of whom was simultaneously representing former Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer. I remember that story. Do you guys remember the Trevor Bauer story? Do you guys remember that? We've talked about this. Wait. This is tough because okay, let's talk about this for a second. I don't want okay. Hold on. I think Masterson is guilty. And just because some people are falsely accused doesn't mean everyone is falsely accused. But I believe Travis Bauer, the Dodger pitcher, was falsely accused. And the attorneys that represented Danny Masterson were the same attorneys that represented Travis Bauer. And he was falsely accused. Okay. Are you sticking with me? Travis Bauer was a different case. We can talk about that again another time, maybe. I don't know if we can get into that whole thing today. But Travis Bauer was a Dodgers pitcher who had a sexual assault accuser, and she was an Arizona woman, and she eventually was indicted for fraud. She was totally like a fake accuser. Her name was Lindsay Hill, and she totally ruined Trevor Bauer's life because she accused him of SA, and it was a fake accuser. It's kind of giving the same Laura Owens, other than pregnancy, like Laura Owens, Clayton Echard situation. Fake accuser, total BS. Okay. However, just because they had the same attorneys as Danny Masterson doesn't mean Danny Masterson is in the same situation. We can have two cases of SA accusations or rape accusations or SH accusations or whatever, where one person is guilty and one person is not. You know what I mean? Not all are the same. Does that make sense? Okay, back to Masterson. It says a request to push back Danny Masterson's trial to accommodate Holly's schedule was denied. According to the filing, Danny Masterson became increasingly agitated with his own attorney's strategy and now argues that his attorney Cohen failed to call witnesses who allegedly could have supported his version of events. So his new attorney is claiming in the court records that several friends of the accusers were prepared to testify that the women described the encounters as consensual. Masterson's petition further alleges that Cohen, his own attorney, did not sufficiently challenge the prosecution's narrative that each woman became disoriented and nauseated after drinking alcohol provided by Masterson. So he's saying that basically prosecution would throw out these crazy accusations. I'm not calling them crazy, but prosecution during Masterson's case would throw out these accusations that they were getting all disoriented after drinking the alcohol that Masterson gave them, that they were all, out of it, that they weren't consenting to sex, and that his own defense attorneys were not challenging hard enough. They were not bringing in the right amount of witnesses that were coming in to discredit the women. They weren't doing their job as defense attorneys. Meanwhile, Cohen his own attorney pointed out that prosecutors presented no forensic evidence that the women were drugged. So he did actually say that there was no evidence that the women were drugged. But currently his new attorney, Multhop, is claiming that the attorney failed Danny Masterson by not mounting a full affirmative defense, which he says would have included a plethora of evidence pointing towards consensual sex. They have not heard back. The Daily Mail has not heard back. My sponsor, according to Enrique, sponsor Daily Mail, has not heard back from Danny Masterson's old attorneys yet. And it says another key part of Danny Masterson's new petition focuses on Scientology, which prosecutors argued played a role in discouraging the women from reporting him. But his new attorney, Multhop, claims in the petition that his old attorney failed to call a Scientology member to rebut the prosecution's expert witness, who testified that church teachings would have discouraged the women from reporting Masterson to police. And the Church of Scientology is denying those allegations. So essentially, they're just basically saying, the whole article is saying that everything that the old attorneys did not do enough to defend Danny Masterson in the case. I still think this is like a last-ditch effort to find everything. And somehow, somewhere, I believe in my heart that if Blake Lively, because narcissists be narcissisting, narcissists be narcissisting, is that a word? If Blake Lively loses in this trial, if we go to trial in March 2026 for Baldoni versus Lively versus Baldoni, I believe in my heart that if Blake Lively does lose, we will see her in a retrial, or we will see her in an appeal. We will see her at some point later down the line going against her own attorneys, saying, my attorneys failed me. This judge failed me. This jury failed me. The system failed me. The world failed me. Like, it's never me. It's never my fault. It's their fault, right? Never taking accountability. Narcissist got a narcissist. Narc's gonna narc. Every time I hear narcs, though, I always think it's like a tattletale, right? Narc's gonna narc sounds like I'm like a school narc. It doesn't like track for me. It always sounds like someone's telling on them, you know? There's a couple questions. Someone said it will turn into an Amber Heard situation, Patty says. But I have a question for you guys because this actually reminds me. I'm going to turn this into an Amber Heard question. In the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, we never saw Amber Heard's text messages, correct? Will we ever see Blake Lively's text messages in this trial? Will we ever see, or forget trial, in the lead up to the trial, will we ever see any personal emails or text messages of Blake Lively's in the lead up to this trial? Will we ever see anything unsealed? I would like to see something of Blake Lively's. I've seen so much of Justin's and his team. I want to see something of Blake Lively's. That is something that I would like to see. You guys are saying no. I mean, one person, Intuition Jen, says yes, but most of you guys are saying no. And the reason why I ask that is because I always like to go and see what the opposite side on the case is saying. And apparently they think that we are. We're waiting to see it. We will see it. And I'll pull that up. I'm very interested, but I don't feel like it's ever going to happen. Very, very interested. We'll talk about that in just a second. Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys that this week's episode is brought to you by Ollie, the best dog food. I can guarantee it. Dog food by Ollie, the only way to go. My freezers are full. My fridges are full. My dogs, my husband, everyone in my house is like, where's our Ollie if we're running low? Wanting the absolute best for my dog, I switched to Ollie. They offer fresh protein-packed meals made with real human-grade ingredients, a win for my dog's health, and they offer 5 tasty recipes, all slow cooked for top nutrition, a win for my dog's happiness and health. Okay. The best thing about it is that there's 5 different flavors, so we can switch them around. Lamb, chicken, turkey. Can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a bunch. And they are, I wonder if they list them in front of me. I can't remember the other 2, but they're all really, really good. The dogs love the taste. Even the pickiest eaters will be more excited during mealtime. There's no question. My dogs are picky, especially Frankie, and they're tailor-made meal plans to meet your dog's specific needs in terms of size, perfectly portioned meals, and mess-free packaging. And there's an app, so you can skip your shipment if you're going out of town. You can speed it up. You can up your shipment. You can lower your shipment. My dogs are healthy. My dogs are happy. Their fur is clean and shiny. Your dog's well-being starts with their food. And that's why Ollie delivers fresh, human-grade food that your dog will love. Head to ollie.com/dailydose. Tell them all about your dog and use code dailydose to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you're going to get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/dailydose and enter code dailydose to get 60% off your first box. Thank you so much, Ollie. Another great sponsor this week is Wayfair. As you guys know, Wayfair is your go-to destination for everything home, no matter your style, no matter your budget. And we're getting into our cozy months. I'm totally all about getting cozy inside because I'm spending so much more time at home than I've ever spent before. I love staying home. I like going out sometimes, but honestly, it's too expensive to go out, especially now that I just finished my bar mitzvah. So, I mean, it wasn't my bar mitzvah, but it kind of was my bar mitzvah. And so everything is at home, but I want my home to be cozy. I want my home to look great. And with dogs and stuff, I'm constantly having to rebuy stuff. So it's all about Wayfair. And the coolest thing about it is Wayfair is the place to shop for all things home. Everything from sofas to spatulas, you name it, they have it. And you can get up to 70% off during Wayfair's Black Friday sale. They have styles you can't find anywhere else, no generic pieces you've seen 100 times, so you can make your home way more you. Starting October 30th, that was already a few weeks ago, you can shop Wayfair's can't miss Black Friday deals all month long. Plus, you can sit back and relax with Wayfair's fast and easy shipping just in time for the holidays. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday deals for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. All right, let's get into why I was bringing up Blake Lively's text messages because and thank you, by the way, for everyone that uses any of these codes and shops at all of my sponsors. I want to talk about that. That is so important for the the health of Daily Dose of Donna because the sponsors keep using my show. If you guys keep using the ads, and that keeps the show off the ground and keeps me going. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Always use code Daily Dose for any of these. If you're ever using any of the companies, just try using code Daily Dose. And if you ever want to remember what the links are, subscribe to my newsletter because I send it out every single Sunday night with all the codes. Okay, let's get into the story now for real. Blake Lively, there's a few different things that have happened in the last few days. Obviously, yesterday I spoke a lot about this video and this leaked video. It's not a leaked video. It's a video that Justin Baldoni actually released with his own filings, meaning his own attorneys released it to show, I would imagine, just to show the energy on set, to show that it was light, to show that everything was fine, to show that Blake Lively was smiling when Justin Baldoni said the word sexy, when everything was fine. No one was stressed. No one was odd. Blake Lively used the word sexy. Nothing was weird. Okay? Nothing was weird except the people that like to make things weird. You know, there's people out there that can't just take facts. They have to turn everything into a goddamn conspiracy theory. Okay. They have to turn everything into a twisted version of events. And the truth is, sometimes it's just what it is. Sometimes it's just normal life. And yesterday I went on a whole tangent about life on set. Sometimes it's just fun and games. You make fun, you make jokes, you make sarcastic comments. But the more I listened to the video and yesterday's version of the video, which I played from Daily Mail, he was saying if he actually said that comment and the cadence and the tone of the comment was what? The code of the comment was the cadence of the comment was something along the lines of what did it say? It was like, do you want like I missed the sexual harassment training. And that's how it went up. I missed the sexual harassment training. I missed the sexual harassment, something along those lines. And I was like, huh? That's not how you say that. And I listened to it 10 times over. So riddle me why right after I went over to X, okay? Just because, it's one of the websites that I constantly check. I post my videos, I post my links on there. And I hate to give this guy attention, but it's important for this. It's important for this story. It's ex-patriarch who I've talked about multiple times throughout this last year. I think it's very important to talk about because, in my opinion, I believe that he is somehow connected to Team Blake Lively. Why? He has a very few amount of followers on Instagram. I mean, on X. Maybe on Instagram. I actually don't know. I think he has somewhat more followers on TikTok because he was posting a lot about, I think it's like anti-male content. I don't even know what he posts about before Blake Lively, but he has focused tremendously on this case since December 22nd. Okay, literally the day after she released her CRD complaint, it was all about this. It was giving hyperfixation times 10. And I can say that because I did the same thing too, especially in the first few months of 2025. I posted so much in 2025, the first few months of 2025 about this case. Like I was all about this too. But I talk about reality TV. I talk about celebrity news. Like this is really my bread and butter. He was talking a lot about male female relationship type stuff and toxic masculinity or like those kinds of things. And then he just honed in on this case and it became all he talked about forever. That was it. That was it. That was it. To the point where it became strange. And then the weirdest part or the weirder part was that Ryan Reynolds followed him. Why? And then Nick Viall followed him. Like, why are all these Ryan Reynolds supporters following this guy? And it seemed so odd to me. And when I really went and did a deep dive, I noticed that he was creating very, 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 very well done, edited strongly, like perfectly edited with really well talking point videos about the case starting December 22nd or 23rd, like within 24 hours after her CRD complaint, where he was taking footage and videos from like the premiere week. And I thought to myself, like, how does he? I wouldn't have noticed it back then because he wouldn't have been on my radar back then. But now in the last few months, you go back and I'm like, how would he have known that this was going to turn in? Justin Baldoni hadn't even fought back yet. How would he have known that it was going to turn into this huge legal battle? This was strange to me. Felt very strange. So the whole thing has turned into this, like, who is this guy? And he really is combative for Blake Lively, like really. And he takes everything and turns it into a pro Blake Lively argument. So literally any possible story that could be a pro Justin is turned into pro Blake. Anything that is pro Blake is turned into anti Justin. Like, it's really wild. And he can never take a loss. And a lot of pro Blake people are like this. They can never just take a loss. Whereas as someone that is very much team Justin on this story, I can straight up take the loss a lot of times. I can say, like, Justin's team fucked up. I've said that many times. I've said this many times where I've said Brian Friedman dropped the ball. Justin Baldoni's team sucks here. This looks bad for Justin Baldoni. Like, I have said that many times, but they won't say it. Like, it's like, you cannot ever put out there that Blake Lively looks bad. Ever, you know? So I went over to X, and here's the video that he plays. And I was so confused because remember that I had sat there, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, on yesterday's video, around like 58 minutes, I start talking about this video. I played it so many times and his voice goes up. Do you guys remember? Tell me in the comments if you were here yesterday and you remember how his voice goes up when he says that sexual harassment line. Meaning he says, and I missed my sexual harassment training. Said it 20 times. So I want you guys to listen to his version of this video. And I was so thrown off by it. And remember, former casting director here, I am literally trained to listen to cadence, tone, inflection, and voice. This is what I am good at. Listen to this.
All right, we should go. Ready? All right.
Hey, somebody lock it up.
Can we get a
Toothpick, please. Viv, do you have a toothpick?
Yeah, right here.
Thank you.
sorry.
All right, we should go. Ready?
Okay. I was like, wait, what? So it's towards the end. Listen to this again. I missed the sexual harassment training. That's how it sounds. I was like, wait, what? One more time. I missed the sexual harassment training. That's how it says in this video. I missed the sexual harassment training. And you hear him say, I missed the sexual harassment training. And in the video that we watched yesterday on Daily Mail, you can't hear him say anything like that. You can just hear him say, if he says sexual harassment training, we just made up that he said sexual harassment training because we didn't know what he was saying. We just were going with what they put a caption for. But it was like, I missed the sexual harassment training. We just like put in those words because that's what they said he said. But we didn't know he said that. But I said, there's no way he's saying that because his voice is going up. That's not something you say when your voice goes up. So it's doctored. This video that this guy on November 16th, now 48 hours ago, is doctored. This is a doctored video. But what's crazy about it, please look at the engagement here. He has 550,000 views on this video from 48 hours ago. And guess what else? This is the video that got picked up to then get all over mainstream media. Because this video is why TMZ, Page 6, Daily Mail, People Magazine, all of the news articles pulled the fact that he says, I missed the sexual harassment training. This is the only reason. No one else, absolutely no one else, can confirm that he says that. Who can confirm it? His voice, his face is covered. That's like you confirming that I'm saying something, but me not saying. Like, can you imagine me talking and you don't even be able to? My face is covered by the microphone. You have no idea what I'm saying. And can you imagine? What?
All right.
So I don't understand. Notice something else about his captions that he created here. I'll make it bigger for you guys. Notice something else about this guy, the way he created. Ex-patriarch, this guy created the captions, by the way.
We should go.
Watch
Ready.
this. He adds, I think it's pretty hot.
All right.
Sexy. And then look what he puts here. This is very intentional. He puts this little next to the woman that's standing next to Blake, and he puts this thing that says awkward. She doesn't say awkward. It's not a caption. He infers that this woman feels awkward. Why in the world does he have the right to say what she feels right there? How does he know she's awkward? Is he speaking for her? I would like her to be able to confirm whether or not she feels awkward. How does he know she's awkward? That's bullshit. What if that was me out there and I wasn't feeling awkward? What if she hates Blake and that's why she's awkward? Maybe she's nervous that Blake is a biatch and is going to yell at Justin because Blake was a terror on set. So he's putting in his own words and his own feelings on a video to make Justin look bad. And you think this is a smear campaign against Blake? This is sick. Sorry, this is sick. This is crazy work right here to put in the word awkward. Why are you just creating emotions?
Somebody lock it up.
Can we get a
Toothpick, please. Viv, do you have a toothpick?
Yeah, right here.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. Now, whether or not he said it, I still don't think it's a big deal. Even if he said it directly out loud to 15,000 people on a stage with a microphone, I don't think it's a big deal because I actually have a sense of humor. Unfortunately, people on Blake Lively's side only have a sense of humor when it's Ryan Reynolds that are saying it. Like, Blake Lively is the queen of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and all of their supporters are the king and queens of only me, not thee, or whatever. Rules for me, not for thee. It's like we can all make all the jokes. We can all say all the funny things. We can call you all the names. We can talk about body parts. We can talk about birth. We can talk about boobs. We can talk about dicks. We can talk about, sex. We can talk about all the disgusting things. We can talk about drugs. We can talk about all the things. We can talk about perineums. We can talk about all the things. But if God forbid you make a joke that even in any way implies something, you are a disgusting, evil man. Gross. It's like so weird. It's truly, they're weird people. I'm sorry. This ex-patriarch is one of them too. It's weird. He also pulled something out the other day talking about talking about circumcision or something. I'm like, something's sick in your head if you think circumcision is a sexy thing to talk about. Circumcision, birth, we're going to talk about that. Why we're talking about birthing and circumcision in the same category as sexual, like this is a problem. You guys need to worry about yours. I've never once, like I never, when my boys were circumcised, I wasn't like, cover your eyes. Ah, like, are you over 18? Ah, like what? This is not sexual. This is like totally not something that should be sexualized. It shouldn't be in the same category as sexualized. Like it's not. Only perverted people think this way. This is not a normal, this is not on the same page. I'm sorry. I find this very odd. I don't know why Eric Sania put that comment, even big D's, but I mean, big D's. Okay. So, let's get into, so that was on the video. And now let's get into the birthing video. So, as you guys know, Blake Lively's team has tried to get really like they've worked their angles as hard as they possibly can to get access to this birthing video that Natasha Heath, Jamie Heath's wife, has. You know, she had a water birth. She had a home birth, a water birth, a natural water birth with one of her children, and probably both. I don't know have all the details, but she had a water birth, and her husband Jamie had, as we know, shown Blake the video, the still of an image from the video on the day of the birthing scene. Blake Lively said, "Oh, let me look at it after lunch," and didn't want to look at it, and so on and so forth. I don't need to give you guys the whole recap, but she was given 3 minutes of the video, and she was asking the judge for Jamie Heath to produce the entire video because she didn't feel that she had enough of the information, essentially, to decide whether or not it was of sexual nature. Because she believes that she needs to see the entire birth video to establish whether or not it was pornographic in nature. I can't even put into words as a mother myself how off this is. It's incredibly confusing. It's incredibly disheartening. It's incredibly damaging for Natasha Heath. Natasha is a non-party in this case. She has a husband who was very present in the birth of their child and who just wanted to produce a beautiful movie, a realistic, beautiful birthing scene in a movie. Clearly, they probably didn't think Blake Lively was doing a good enough job birthing the baby in that scene. And the truth is, I don't think she did either. Okay. Now, I didn't have a natural childbirth. I had to have 2 C-sections because I don't have birthing hips or something. I don't know. My body wasn't doing it on its own. But I was not impressed with Blake Lively's ability to convey a natural birth. And maybe Justin wasn't either. So Justin had told Jamie, you know, Natasha had this beautiful video that you've shown, because clearly it's like he's posted on Instagram at least a couple minutes of it. And show Blake that. So this was on Justin. But for anyone out there to convince, to even try to make this into, this is us trying to get, to harass Blake in a sexual nature. This is us trying to like coerce her and make her feel like harassed, is you have to have like a brain to go there to think that way. I guess you already have to be perverted in that way to think that way, because I would never ever think that way. Now, you may be able to say, okay, that's kind of weird, like I don't want to see it, I wouldn't put it past you if you would say, like, I don't want to see a producer's wife's birth. Fine. I think that's okay to say. But to say that's pornographic in nature, that is sexually inappropriate, is that's a screw loose. Because is there a category on, X-rated sites in that category out there, you guys? Is there? I've never seen it. I've also never perused and looked for it, but is that a fetish out there? Is that a thing? Like, I understand some men think pregnant women are sexy, but I've never, ever seen that one as like, that's how men are like finding their way through, getting through the day, if you know what I mean. What? So to even put two and two together and turn that, which could just be like, that's weird, I don't want to see that, into, oh my God, that's weird. He's harassing me. He's SHing me. He's turning me into he's putting me in a harassing, like I'm the victim of her SH because of that, is so, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work for my brain. You really have to reach. Like, does your arm hurt, Blake? But that makes me feel like it's not, I mean, maybe it is Blake, but someone is doing some crazy, crazy reaching. And actually, it feels very on brand for Ex-Patriarch, which makes me think Ex-Patriarch is Ryan Reynolds, because maybe it is all together. It's like the same kind of twisting that they're doing. They're all twisting so much. They're like Gumbo. Remember Gumbo, the green character? They're like twisters. I mean, they're all in pain from all the twisting that they're doing. Now, Micah's saying not really. Not really, that's not a category on the corn sites. Childbirth. It's so insane. Now, I used to watch A Baby Story on TLC. In fact, A Baby Story is honestly the reason why I was excited to give birth. Okay? Oh, Gumby, not Gumbo. Gumbo is what you eat. Micah says pregnant women, on the other hand, huge category, or so I've been told. See, I told you I knew about the pregnant fetishes. Men love a pregnant woman, okay? When I was pregnant, I got hit on all the time. Men love a pregnant woman. But I used to watch A Baby Story. I loved A Baby Story, but I never, ever felt like, oh my God, if someone walks in while I'm watching A Baby Story, I will die of embarrassment. Like, oh my God, like, let me make sure I watch this on my phone. Like, I mean, it wasn't like when I watched Nashville. Wait, what was the show I watched with Brittany Snow? Was that Nashville Wives? What was that show called? What was the show called on Netflix with Brittany Snow and the one recently with all the lesbian porn? I mean, I feel like that's the one that when I watched it on a plane on my laptop, I like minimized it into a size like a centimeter because I was Hunting Wives. That's the one where I was watching it like with a blanket because I was like, people will judge me if they see me watching this because literally the girls are going down on each other. But if I was watching A Baby Story, I would be like open and proud. There is nothing remotely inappropriate about baby birth. But the Judge Lyman, has decided to side with his girl Blake. And last night we got a ruling that basically said we grant the motion for Blake Lively to the motion for sanctions, basically, that essentially says Jamie Heath needs to produce the entire video of the birth within 3 days of this order and pay Blake Lively's attorney's fees incurred in making this motion. So not only does he have to now produce her entire birth, to satisfy Blake Lively's need to find something sexual on a birthing video, which is crazy. Which part is it going to be? When she's like, ah, ah, push. I can't, it hurts. Like, which part? Is it going to be when, like, her boobs are exposed? I feel so bad for Natasha. Yeah, Ryan's going to love this part, I feel like. I feel like Ryan's going to grab some popcorn with like his buddies, with Hugh Jackman. They're going to be like, and tell me, do you want to go? This is the greatest show. I just don't understand why she would say, like, this is important to me. Why would she sit here and say, this is a battle I want? This is the battle that I need to win. Why wouldn't she just say, like, no, this is not important to me? Some people did say in my comments yesterday, like, well, I do think that it's maybe possible that the judge is just doing it so that later she's not going to say, but you didn't do this, so. I'm like, no. Anyway, it's very disappointing and very frustrating and very annoying. And she keeps winning in the court. Not in the court of public opinion. She keeps losing, but in the court. And the reason why I was asking about her text messages earlier is because our resident lawyer that is on her side, More with MJ, said on a thread, because I was wondering, More with MJ is like a massive feminist. And that's why I believe that she's so team Blake Lively, because she's such a feminist. So I was thinking to myself, like, how could a major feminist really stand by this? She's a mom. She's a feminist. Like, would she really stand by this one? You know? And she hadn't talked about this case, this ruling yet, as of when I looked her up this morning. But she did say it was about last night, and it was about something else. She was talking about other stuff. But she talks a lot about feminism, so let's see if she even talks about this. But she did say that we have not seen all the evidence. We've only seen his evidence. We have not seen Blake's evidence. We have not seen Blake's texts. We have not seen Blake's witnesses, and we have not seen any of Blake's responses to his motion. So she basically saying that until we see her responses, her evidence, her supporting documents and declarations, then we don't have anything. We will see all of her stuff soon. So I'm confused. I'm like, do you guys think that that's true? Do you actually think that we're going to see? She goes, when Blake files her opposition to Baldoni's summary judgment motion, which I don't know when that will be, but she says that when she files her opposition, we will see some of her text messages, witness declarations, documentary evidence, expert reports, and timeline of events. So we will, I guess, according to Team Blake Lively, we will see some of her stuff. And I would love to see a text message from Blake Lively. I'm dying to see a text message from Blake Lively to Ryan Reynolds, her husband, saying Justin is sexually harassing me. All right, let's see what happens. She's playing chess, not checkers, you know? Okay, let's move on to another story, yeah? Let's move on. I want to talk for a little bit. We've got to keep things light and tight by talking. Oh, one other thing before we move on to this. I don't talk about Epstein on the show. I really try to stay away from politics as much as possible because it's so dark. Oh, how funny. Just like the Epstein files, Elsie says. Because this reminds me of this. And trust me, I'm watching, I'm reading, I'm watching. I'm very interested in politics. That's what I consume. I just try to keep it off the show. But Blake Lively and the Epstein files, I did have to cover. Okay. I did have to talk about it. So I did not expect to see Blake Lively in the Epstein files. I really didn't. Did not expect to see it. And this morning, this was really honestly wild. Apparently, in 2013, yes, in 2013, there was an article that came out today. And trust me, I don't read all the emails. I am not reading all the emails. I'm not reading all the articles or anything. I can't. It's too much. But Jared Kushner, who's obviously Donald Trump's son-in-law, and I guess he was at that time too. Yes. Jared Kushner, but remember, Donald Trump wasn't president yet at the time. Jared Kushner invited convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein to a party in 2013 that included a guest list of his father-in-law, Donald Trump, and producer Harvey Weinstein, who was not yet a convicted rapist at the time. But this is interesting because who else was on the guest list? Well, it was Cory Booker, who we know as a mayor, but also Blake Lively, Katie Holmes, fashion designer Carolina Herrera, and Weinstein's then fashion designer wife, Georgina Chapman. What's interesting about this is that the only person Jeffrey Epstein was invited after he had already been served, was already serving 13 months for child trafficking. Okay. Ashton too. So I'm going to read to you guys the list of all the people that are on this invite list or like part of the event. But this is so interesting to me because I don't know who's really in charge of like the invite list, but I would imagine if your name is on the event as being like part of the guest list, you should have somewhat of a say. And this is just so Hollywood because it's so crazy. Cory Booker, okay, number one, the invite says, Dear Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, Jared Kushner, New York's youngest powerhouse publisher. So remember, this is prior to the White House. No one's in the White House yet. It's March 7th, 2013. Is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the New York Observer on Thursday, March 14th. Mayor Michael Bloomberg will be by his side to toast you all. The Observer is honoring those who have defined and shaped New York since 1987. They are celebrating the city's best, brightest, and most influential in culture, media, and finance. The salmon pink pages are revered, I don't know, among New York's elite as the preeminent voice on power. The celebration is going to be one of those quintessential New York nights. We are looking forward to seeing you. XOXO, Peggy. And it says Jared Kushner, publisher, Joseph Meyer, CEO. These are the people that invite you to join them at the New York Observer. Cory Booker, Arthur Carter, Georgina Chapman, Katie Couric. We'll never forget that she blocked me over Liz Plank. Freaking Katie Couric, Lauren Santo Domingo, Larry Gagosian, Mariska Hargitay, who I really like, Mariska, Carolina Herrera, Katie Holmes, Woody Johnson, Peter Kaplan, Commander Ray Kelly, Ken Kursan, Matt Lauer, what a winner, Blake Lively, Terry Lundgren, Peter Martin, Cynthia McFadden, Sean Parker, Ron O. Perelman, Steven Schwartzman, Lara Spencer, Steve Tisch, Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump, Harvey Weinstein, George C. Wolf. Like how Blake Lively got on that list is real random and wild. Isn't that revered? Thank you so much. Why was Ryan Reynolds, when did Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively marry? Not yet. They weren't together yet. 2013. She was a baby. And remember, I mean, she was in with Woody Allen and Harvey Weinstein and like all of those problematic people. But this is actually breaking news. And I'm not going to get into politics. Remember that. But this is kind of big news, you guys. This is huge news, actually. Breaking news. The House votes 427-1 to release all the Epstein files as speculation explodes over a cover-up and whether every name will be revealed, with one rebel Republican voting no. So everyone voted to release the files. This is good. I'm happy. This is actually a good thing. I am ready for all the files to be released, and I'm dying to know who is the rebel Republican that voted no. Let's find out. Who do you guys think it is? Clay Higgins. Who the hell is Clay Higgins? A Republican United States representative from Louisiana, was the only Congress member to vote no on the bill. Okay. So we will see who is going down. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. Just put Ryan Reynolds on that list already. I mean, yeah, but Leslie says, thank goodness, hopefully they aren't redacted to hell. Like, who's in charge of whether or not they're redacted? And let's see what happens. I'll be very, very interested. Okay. I think both sides are going down. I agree, Danny. I think both sides did not want this to happen, and there was way too much noise pushing for it. And both sides are freaking the F out. Like Clinton, they're all freaking out. All sides. Oh, Blake and Ryan were already married in 2013. Interesting. Okay, let's now go into Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. You guys, I'm tripping out by this relationship of them. Okay, I am tripping out by it. I think that the two of them are such an odd pair, and I get it. I think that they have a relationship they've worked on a movie that is very, very intense. They've been working together for years, basically, because they filmed this years ago, and they've done press now for years and years and years. And it's a lot. But look at this. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's trauma bond over Wicked, as Glinda and Elphaba stars go viral for tearful promo tour, how the pair's tragic backstories paved the road to Oz. This whole article talks about basically how they essentially have a trauma bond, and you feel it when you watch them together. It's a strange, strange relationship. It says their relationship has been one of the greatest platonic love stories to come from a movie, but somehow, like, I talked to my I almost said 9-year-old. It's so weird. I was talking to my 13-year-old Dylan last night, and Dylan just had the bar mitzvah, the Broadway musical bar mitzvah. He's like all about the music. He's all about Broadway musicals. So he watches all this stuff. He watches all the TikToks and the YouTubes and stuff. He is like, I am convinced that Cynthia's in love with Ariana. Like, I'm convinced of it. And I'm like, I wouldn't put it past it. Wouldn't put it past them. Like, Ariana, the way Cynthia treats Ariana, and I obviously don't have evidence of it, but just body language vibes. The way that Ariana and Cynthia, it's a codependency like no other. There is something going on with those two and their relationship. It is just such an odd interaction. Okay. Cynthia said it, I don't think people realize it's not a natural occurrence on a film set. It doesn't happen very often. Yes, you make friends on a film, you get close to people, but this kind of connection doesn't happen often. They continued, and we've seen, like, remember during the first film, the whole finger thing? Obviously, they've both had, ups and downs in their careers, but their connections, during this movie, it's just like no one has seen the way that they treat each other. Now, on Instagram, Sloan, who does a lot of the he does a lot of, like, breakdowns of pop culture. I shared one of his videos yesterday, and let me pull it up for you guys. I thought it was so weird. Hold on, here you go. Sloan Hux is his name.
active Cynthia Erivo has been over Ariana Grande during this press tour. As you guys can see, she is 2 seconds away from going after that water bottle that Ariana Grande was struggling to open. Now, I guess Mark was getting a little bit too excited and got physical with Ariana Grande, which really got Cynthia concerned. As you guys can see, she grabbed Ariana Grande and made sure that her wrist was all okay. In this clip, you guys can see that Ariana is struggling with her dress, and Cynthia jumps in to help her carry it along the way. Here's part 2. Ariana Grande could not lift her big dress, another big dress. She's trying to kick it up to get onto the stairway, and Cynthia must not have been too close by because here she comes running into the frame to go and try to help Ariana Grande make those last few steps. Everyone deserves a friend like Cynthia in their life. I feel like, what are we going to do after Wicked is over and we don't have these two together anymore? There's clearly a deep bond between these two, and I think that the new Wicked movie is going to show just that. But really, shout out to Cynthia. Look at her jump in, not even a second thought. She wanted to protect Ariana, and I think that this was the beginning of Cynthia becoming like Ariana's bodyguard. What do you guys think in the comments below?
Now, Special K says, this is giving me controlling partner vibes. I get the same vibe too. And I'm trying so hard to not be judgmental and look at it as like, maybe it's just sweet, but there's something about it that is just intense. It doesn't feel like, oh, my love, I love you, we're besties. It feels like, stay off of her energy. She's mine, like possessive. It doesn't feel like, Sloan is saying like, oh, we all would love to have a Cynthia by our side. And I'm like, would we? I don't know about that. Is Cynthia like making sure that she doesn't have any other friends? Is Cynthia checking in on her text messages at night? I don't know if it's necessarily a very kind, loving, mutual friendship. It feels something, it doesn't feel very, very like equal. However, Abby Bonades, she's someone that I follow who covers a lot of like pop culture stuff on Instagram, went to a screening of For Good last night. And she said her video was so cute. She was, she's such a huge fan and she is like beyond, like over the top excited about it. And here, I'll show you some of her content about seeing it. Are you guys excited about seeing it? I am super excited about seeing the movie, but this was her trying to film her reaction after seeing it for the first time. She can't. Just crying. Clearly, she had an amazing time, and she was crying in the theater. She went to the premiere, and then she just said,
now that I've officially
She
seen
said
Wicked
this is
for Good, here are the
spoiler-free.
3 things you need to know in honor of being 3 days out from the world premiere. I'm breaking it down right now because this is the Wicked 100, our daily video series with a little something about Wicked every single day. And
we don't need to watch it, but if you guys like following and are interested, she obviously had an amazing time and loved it, but I am excited to see it. I will definitely see it, but Enrique thinks there's something wrong with people that cry after the movies. Listen, I have never cried as hard as I did after A Star Is Born. That was me after seeing A Star Is Born in the theater, in my car, at home. What movie? Well, the first movie I ever did that to was Beaches. What movie did you fall on the floor, cry like a hysterical person? I can name like 5 off the top of my head. My Girl, Schindler's List, Beaches, A Star Is Born. I can't think of any off the Miranda goes, did you record it? I probably did. Okay, what are your let me show the comments so you guys can just have it, everyone up there. A Dog's Purpose, A Star Is Born, Practical Magic, Steel Magnolias. Steel Magnolias. Shelby. Titanic. Oh, these are all good ones, you guys. We should just cry together. Such good movies. Color Purple. That's like it's been so long. Wow, what you don't have a heart, Special K. Beaches was great and Steel Magnolias, but I didn't cry. Something's wrong with you. Go get your heart checked. Okay. Finally, let's talk about Karen Reed. You guys, huge news, huge. Karen Reed has officially filed. We are entering episode 3, chapter 3 of the Karen Reed new lawsuit, the civil trial. We've been waiting for this for a long time, and this is going to be the big one because now Karen Reed is not the defense. She is the prosecution. She's ready to go. She's ready to come at that city, that dirty, dirty city of Canton. Karen Reed's new lawsuit alleges others killed John O'Keefe, and the police failed to investigate. The defendants named in the lawsuit include the Alberts, the McCabe's, Michael Proctor, Brian Higgins, and Yuri Buchanek. Okay, this is huge. Karen Reed, who is acquitted of murder, has filed an explosive lawsuit. It says alleges that others were responsible for the death of her boyfriend and that investigators failed to pursue those leads. Now, after being acquitted of all charges relating to Mr. O'Keefe's death, Ms. Reed brings this action to recover for and address the actions of those actually involved in Mr. O'Keefe's death and the law enforcement officers who abjectly failed to ensure that the justice was sought and served. Her attorney, Mark Diller, an attorney representing the O'Keefe family in their ongoing civil wrongful case against Reed, said she had withdrawn the motion to add new parties to that case in Plymouth County. Instead, court records indicate that Reed is the plaintiff in a civil lawsuit filed in Bristol County Superior Court on Monday. It names as defendants former trooper Michael Proctor, Yuri Buchanek. I mean, these are all famous names in my house. Yuri Buchanek, Brian Tully, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, and Brian Higgins. 5 of those witnesses said Monday in a legal brief that they plan to sue Reed yesterday. This happened yesterday. 5 of those people, they plan to sue Karen Reed and Turtle Boy for defamation. They argue that Karen Reed created a vile work of fiction concocted to evade responsibility for action. So those defendants already, the McAlberts, are already trying to kind of spin it, saying that we are being we are being like created as these, we're being like, I can't even think of the word, but she's creating a story that we are the bad ones when it's not true. The defamation case against Karen Reed and Aiden Turtle Boy has not yet been filed, and the brief included no indication when that actually might happen. Accountability is coming. And these defendants can threaten all the phantom lawsuits they want, but the truth doesn't flinch. A footnote also indicates that Reed plans to add the Massachusetts State Police and the town of Canton as defendants to the case and to eventually merge it with the O'Keefe's lawsuit. Throughout her 2 criminal trials, Reed's defense team said that someone else was responsible for killing O'Keefe and that Reed was the victim of a law enforcement cover-up. Now, Reed's lawsuit explicitly states that O'Keefe was killed in the defendant Brian and Nicole Albert's home at 34 Fairview Road in Canton in an altercation during a late-night house party with other defendants after a night of heavy drinking. It's exactly what we always knew, that John O'Keefe went into the house and died. Reed also alleges that rather than call for help, the defendants conducted a Google search for house long to die in the cold, moved the body outside to make it look like Mr. O'Keefe was hit by a vehicle and that he died in the snow without ever coming into the house. Yes, we know this, obviously. In her trials, her defense argued that the Google search was conducted at 2:27 a.m. The claim is repeated. So it's basically every single thing that we learned in the trial, and they're fighting, and they're finally putting it in writing. Alan Jackson says, but really quickly, I just want to make sure very, 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 very fast that Special K says, I'm here to support Donna, but not if she's going to be rude. I have too much other stuff to do. But Special K, I was totally joking about you not having a heart. I know you have a heart. I was joking because you didn't cry to Beaches and Steel Magnolia. Please, please, please. No, I was being sarcastic. Sorry that didn't land. I'm not a comedian. I just was trying to be funny. It didn't land. Sorry. Okay, back to the story. Statement from Alan Jackson, the attorney for Karen Reed. Today's filing speaks for itself. It is a meticulously documented civil action grounded in evidence, law, and the Constitution. For more than 3 years, Karen Reed was dragged through a baseless criminal prosecution engineered by individuals who abused their authority, manipulated the investigative process, and trampled her rights. Our complaint lays out in stark detail the malicious prosecution, the conspiracy, the civil rights violations, and the intentional misconduct that these defendants visited upon an innocent woman. If these defendants want to answer for that under oath, we welcome it. What we will not do is legitimize a threat to file some imaginary defamation case. That threat is nothing more than a desperate attempt by these defendants to distract the public from the very real legal jeopardy they now face. When people start waving around defamation claims to mask their own legal troubles, it tells you everything you need to know. They don't want sunlight. They want silence. Karen Reed spent years fighting for her freedom against a corrupted investigation. Now she is fighting for accountability. And unlike the criminal case, this time the defendants don't get to hide behind badges, back channel favors, or manufactured narratives. They will have to answer in a court of law for every lie, every omission, every manipulated report, and every constitutional violation they committed. Karen Reed is not backing down. Our team is not backing down. Accountability is coming, and these defendants can threaten all the phantom lawsuits they want, but truth doesn't flinch. Damn. Alan Jackson for the win. Karen Reed is going to win this shit. There is no question. I am convinced. She has to. If she didn't kill him, who did? You guys, I can't wait for that. We will definitely be covering that trial when it comes out or when it starts. You guys, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being here. I adore you. I love you. Special K, I'm sorry for hurting your feelings if you're still here. And I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you. You guys are still talking about movies that scared you. Or we were just talking about movies that made you cry. I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.